Welcome to another episode of Five Lemons Laughing. I'm Amanda. I'm here with Morgan and Penny. Drusilla and Melissa aren't here, so we're sending them love.
Lots of love.
Yeah, lots of love.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, have you ever noticed how often we use the words faith and belief like they're the same thing? But what if they're actually completely different? Today, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the difference between believing something that might be true and knowing it's true beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yes, I am excited about this conversation. So, what we're talking about today is the difference between belief and faith, which are two words that come up quite a lot in spiritual religious circles. And so belief is something that we agree to in our heads, thinking about the four agreements, that we're agreeing with something that someone else has said. And it's a mental activity. It's often based on what we've been taught to believe by family, religion, or culture. Like, I believe this because that's what I've always heard. Faith, though, is something deeper, and it's something that we feel and that we live. It's built through our experiences. So it's from moments when life shows us, demonstrates that something bigger is at work. So over time, it moves us from a belief to an actual inner knowing. So that's a big difference. So belief is asking the mind to agree without necessarily any personal evidence. And faith is asking life to reveal. And so this is where it gets really interesting for us, especially in the contrast between traditional Christian teachings, where, when I grew up, I was taught to just take it on faith alone if I had any questions about something in the Bible or whatever. Versus in A Course in Miracles, which it doesn't even ask us to believe the teachings. It tells us outright that you may actively resist the teachings. And the invitation is just to try them out anyway, and see what happens. So see for yourselves if they work, or see for yourselves what they reveal. So maybe the question isn't so much, what do I believe, but what have I come to know through experience? So knowing and belief, faith and belief are totally different things through this lens. So that's what we're digging into today. And I'm just going to toss it to you, Penny, just from this kind of intro. What does this bring up for you?
I love that you said, thanks, Morgan and Amanda. I love that you said traditional Christian faith or doctrine or whatever you said. I can't remember all your exact words, because as I was contemplating this, that's what came up. Like when I had my daughters, we decided not to get them baptized. And that was like, oh my gosh, a little bit of sacrilegious, because everybody gets their kids baptized. And I, it was not, my mom was kind of concerned that my kids weren't baptized. And we just decided, no, that's not what we're going to do. I mean, I was Lutheran, my husband was raised Jewish. And so baptism isn't a thing in Judaism. And I wasn't really attached to it. So that was a belief that you need to baptize your children. But I've come to believe that my daughters are totally safe, protected, loved. And if they're, in A Course in Miracles, heaven is right here on earth. We're living in heaven right now if we choose to, or we can be in hell, whichever we choose. So I don't think that my children have to be baptized to go to heaven. And that's what my mom would say, or that's what I think religious doctrine says, that you must be baptized to go to heaven. And I don't believe that anymore. I mean, everybody got baptized when I was growing up, but yeah. So I think that's what we're talking about today, is that, you got to go to heaven. Yeah. You got to be baptized to go to heaven, or.
Yeah. You didn't just believe what you were told to believe was the truth.
Yeah.
But what I heard is that you just switched to a new belief. I didn't hear you say what you know to be true. I heard you say what you believe to be true. So,
well, what I know to be true is that I do not See, look at, I want to say believe again.
Okay. There's nothing
What
wrong with
what I know to be true is that I do not believe you have to be baptized to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And I was raised, you have to be.
Yeah.
So what does faith tell you about heaven and hell? What is your lived experience? Because that's what we're saying here. Faith is a lived experience where you actually see it, you feel it, you live it, you know it. So what does faith tell you about heaven and hell?
It's a choice for me. So I can, gosh, this is an interesting conversation.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can choose it. So, I grew up where heaven was up there and hell was down there. And I don't believe that to be true anymore. So the lived experience is that I can have a heaven experience right as every day that I'm living. And so, and how do I know that that's happening? When I'm in peace and joy and love, and things are unfolding beautifully. And even when they're not, I can still have peace and joy and love, though that's more challenging, of course. But
or not.
Yeah, or not. Thank you, Amanda. Oh my God. Interrupt those false beliefs. Oh my gosh.
Can I piggyback on what you shared, Penny? Because when Amanda posed that question, I was like, how would I answer that? Because it's an interesting question to pick apart. And the way that I know that baptism is not required to make it into heaven is that faith, my lived experiences, and what I have come to know to be true is that God is love. And I know that to be true. And I can't tell you how I know that, because that is the great mystery and paradox of God. It's ineffable. And some of the things can't be explained with human words. But a God of love doesn't damn his children to hell, eternity in hell. And there is a resonance in my soul that knows that that's to be true. So it is a knowing. It is a knowing. It's not a wishy-washy, well, I believe this. It is a knowing. And what brought this up is an article I read that said that in the New Testament, the word faith that is used is pistis, which means proof. It means proof, to give proof of a statement. So it is not like the modern interpretation of the word faith, because people substitute faith and say, you don't need proof, you just need faith, but they are actually meant to be the same thing. So I found that very interesting.
I love this, right? Because this whole topic is like blows, it's like blowing my mind, right? Because this is just a completely different way to think about it. And I'm so glad that you said that about the true meaning of faith in the Bible is proof, because that's not what I grew up believing. Right? You take, it's blind faith, but that's then the actual meaning of it is it's not what we're supposed to do. It's truth. It's proof. I love that. One of my favorite things is proving God, right? Oh, well, let me see it.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I have an example. So I always believed that we are all human beings living on the planet and that we're not connected, and my actions, other than just a small net, like my actions don't really affect anyone else. Like what I do, it's all about me. And just my little world that I'm living in. In that same vein, like, so that means like whatever I was thinking didn't have ramifications. Like I could think that girl over there was a bitch, and like I wouldn't, like I could think mean things, but it wouldn't manifest. And over the last, I don't know, 10 years, I have let go of that belief in that separation. And my faith, my proof now is my inner world really does affect my outer world. that what I think I see, and I've proven it over and over and over again by letting go of attacking thoughts or judgment thoughts against myself and others, really created conflict in my life. And now that I am in the process of letting that go, my external life is so much more peaceful, even, even with, the drama of life. Because the drama, like the life doesn't go away. But how I react to it and how I move in it. And to me, that's proving God. So faith to me with this new definition is proving God and seeing it in the world. That's a lot. I know.
Well, no, it's not a lot. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you think of a specific one of those examples where you were thinking something about someone and you shifted what you were thinking about them and it shifted the external experience?
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind is my relationship with my husband, right? Because that's the closest thing. So in my mind, and this was personal too, to me, nothing was good enough, literally. Like there was always improvements to be made, always. So just letting go of that, our life would be good if my husband changed. My life would be good if our house looked like this. What he does affects me. And if he doesn't change, then I can't change. So, and just believing that he was living wrong. Right. It sounds ludicrous to say it out loud, but that's the truth.
I've been there.
Yeah. Clearly my path is the best and he needs to change and get into my lane.
And we're laughing about it, but that is the way most people operate from. That's the way we all three operated from before having this awareness. So
and still do at times.
Still do it.
It's funny now,
let's be real.
but it's the kind of the default setting for most people.
Thankfully, we can laugh about it.
I know, right? Yeah. Thank goodness. That's why it's called 5 lemons laughing. Mm-hmm. So what I have noticed is that when in my mind, I stopped trying to change him, right? I stopped trying to fix him. I still ask him about eating and sunscreen and all that stuff. I can't help myself.
Well, let's just pause for a second here and to celebrate that, Amanda. I mean, yay!
Yay!
Job.
Thank you.
We need to celebrate these wins.
We do. So that has relaxed our relationship. That tension, that competition feeling has, for me, it has gone away. And now our relationship feels more relaxed. Mm. And that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's my lived experience of, proof. This is proof.
I love it. And that is a very intimate and kind of long experience. Like there's been an arc in that relationship. It's been huge. A process, but I can also give a more succinct, short answer. Because remember when I was sharing about my encounter at the restaurant and I thought the waitress was ignoring me and was mad at me because I had caused a stink in the restaurant. And I was sitting there for an hour without getting any service and believing that she was ignoring me and mad at me. And I stopped my thoughts and I said, hold up, wait a minute. I'm not interested in that thought. That is not true. I haven't done anything wrong. This waitress has no reason to be upset with me. And I started just coming back to the present, coming back to peace and radiating love to her. And within less than 5 minutes, she stopped by my table and, asked what I needed and, gave me excellent service from that moment forward. So that's another in real time example.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Again, let's celebrate that, Morgan. Way to go.
Let's celebrate that.
Yeah.
So let me ask since, we're talking about belief and faith. So what were you believing and what did faith show you?
I was believing that, let's see, what was I believing? I was believing a story that I had made up in my mind that I was being punished for using my voice and not being a doormat, not being a pushover, not being a people pleaser, and like speaking up for my preferences earlier in the night. Now it was coming back to bite me in the butt and punish me. And I was being further victimized and whatever. So that's what I believed was happening. Yeah. And then I knew when I paused and got really present, what faith was showing me was that was all happening in my mind. It wasn't the truth. It was a made up story based on my programming, my past associations that I was bringing into the present and assigning onto this other person, without just checking in with her to see, is this what's happening or am I just making this all up? I just made it all up. So that was what I knew to be true, was that I was just fabricating the whole experience in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Boy, and how often do we do that? We just make a meaning. We're meaning makers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so far from the truth. It's somewhere in between, right? What's really happening.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
So, and I thought of a couple of other like examples of things that I used to believe and that now that I know. Mm-hmm. One of them is that the peace of God is always available to me. Lovely sentiment, right? Lovely. Mm-hmm. But to live it and to experience it and to know it is a totally different thing than to just repeat the lovely words and believe it. And I have had the experience of being in the midst of a shitstorm of some drama, some upset, some challenge, and feeling very present to peace within me, despite the chaos that was going on around me, particularly in relation to interpersonal conflicts, fights with my husband or fears with my husband, different things like that. Those are like some specific examples, but that's one example. And then the power of being present versus living in the past and in the future. Like I've had that experience too, and seen how powerful that is. So like it shows up in all kinds of different ways. And I think a helpful question would be is how does it feel when you shift from believing something to knowing it? Does it feel different? Is there any tells that signify that you've shifted from just mentally agreeing with the concept to actually knowing that it's true? Like, what are the clarifying? How do we know?
Well, here's just a super simple thing that I just don't get upset in traffic anymore, right? Someone doesn't use a turn signal. Someone drives really slow. Someone weaving through traffic. That just doesn't upset me anymore because I know we are all human beings on this planet living our own experience. That has nothing to do with me. My anger, hate, rage it just isn't present anymore like it used to be. Because, right, that's where compassion comes in. Like that really has nothing to do with me. There's this person late for work. How many times have I been late for work? Mm-hmm. Right. In my youth, I drove fast cars and I weaved in and out of traffic because it was fun, right? Oh my God, that person is having fun. Right. It just changes. And that's through. So my faith my it's hard not to use the word belief. My faith is that we're all human beings. We're all on the planet doing what we're doing. And me being in peace and love just makes it easier for those around me to do it as well. And also, like, even, when my husband is cussing at somebody, like, that doesn't affect me either. Now I'm just like, oh, that's my husband being my husband. That has nothing to do with me, right?
Love
I
that.
can, just for the, shits and giggles, I can start calling people names just to support him, right? Like, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's just fun. Then it turns into more laughing than actual, anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some like recent examples too. I mean, the thing that just popped into my mind is like automatically saying no to something, like believing that it's going to be bad or whatever. That if you say yes to something, and it's not me, it's my family. They usually, come up with this great idea, and they all say no, not even thinking about it. And so the lived experience that I have around that is to just be gentle with them and to know that maybe they need a little bit more information to be able to come on board with what I'm suggesting or something. But I'm having a tough time figuring out a lived experience for me other than that. Maybe I don't know. I'm just challenged today. I'm just telling you that.
I just want to say that's a hard one, right?
Yeah.
Like, being around people whose default setting is no, and not letting that affect you is a big deal.
Yeah.
Or, like, not letting your yes be dampened by their no. That's huge. That, to me, because I have been around, lots of no people. Like, the default setting is no. And
we laugh about it and we go, okay, you didn't even hear me out. Yeah. Like,
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So,
and it does take a lot of living authentically to allow the no's, and to allow the no people to be no people and not to try to change them. That's huge.
And not to take it personally. So you brought that example forward. What is the belief about the no's?
The belief would be that they're saying no without even knowing everything. Like, it's an automatic habit that they have. That's the belief. It's just a habit to say no. It's easier, I guess, to say no than to say yes. Yeah.
And is there anything that you know to be true about that?
That sometimes people need more information before they can say yes. That's kind of the bottom line, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before you brought that example forward, you said that you were having a hard time with this. And I just want to clarify specifically, what are you having a hard time with? See if we can.
Well, just finding like you guys were giving real life examples, like recent examples.
Okay.
And I'm just trying
to
think, I'm thinking, okay, like, what's my recent example?
Well, it doesn't have to be recent. I mean, I dug way back for the one about, God is love and doesn't damn his children to hell. That was a way back one. Like, so I'm thinking of you for like your 12-step work. What did you believe about yourself? And now,
oh my gosh, that's a really good. Thank you, Morgan. When I think Amanda was talking, I thought of a process that I've done in 12-step work where you pray for somebody when you're not, like you were talking about your husband when you weren't getting along, or people that along the highway, and you just pray for them for 2 weeks to have what it is that you want for yourself. And sometimes that can shift a relationship from believing that they're assholes into believing that there's somebody that's actually very nice, or having faith that they are nice or whatever. But yeah, in 12-step work, and actually it wasn't as much 12-step work, Morgan, I'm just hearing the 4 agreements spoken over and over and over this morning as we're going through that, because, be impeccable with your word is, and always do your best are the two that are really coming up for me. And don't make assumptions, that what somebody else is going through, kind of like with your driving example, Amanda.
I'm glad you brought up that book, because he talks about this in that book, because he talks about all the unconscious agreements that we've made throughout our life. And that is belief.
Yeah.
But the 4 agreements that he lays forth are what we can come to know through practical application, trying them on, experiencing that they're true. And so he kind of lays the same exact foundation in his book, just using different words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Unconscious agreement versus.
Well, yeah, the domestication of the human race, like he uses in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never read that book. I mean, I've heard about it, but I've never read it.
It's such an easy read, and it's such a great foundational, like, spiritual book. I think it was one of the early books that I read when I first started reading a lot of spiritual books, spiritual self-help, whatever you want to call them. And it was just really groundbreaking and eye-opening. It's a great place to start, and it's a great place to come back to again and again.
Again and again. I actually even taught or facilitated a class at our company for our leadership team, because it's such a powerful book. And it's a little out there, but we are too right now, this group, 5 Lemons Laughing, but it's a little out there. And a lot of people go, ooh, it's too woo for me. But if you see beyond the woo, the first couple chapters, it's actually quite powerful. Yeah. But yeah, so be impeccable with your word. It talks about don't gossip about, I always thought gossip was I always believed it was gossiping about others. But my lived experience is it's also not gossiping about myself. So that, I don't know if I'm hitting this on the head, but that's another example. Like, be impeccable with my word towards myself is also very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought about, like, the belief that I grew up with, that we're all sinners.
Oh God, yeah.
And what I know to be true now is that we're all innocent. We're created by a perfect God. So how could he create anything less than perfection?
Yeah, and the lesson I'm studying today is lesson 93 in A Course in Miracles, the workbook, and it's my sinlessness is guaranteed by God.
Yes, perfect
is
timing.
The lesson. Yeah.
And then it goes back to, like, people might be like, well, how do you know that's true? How is that not just a different belief? And that's where it gets tricky to answer. Some of them are concrete. We have very concrete examples of living proof, but some of it is ineffable, like I said before. And some of it goes to, like, a resonance within your being. Like, it just, I shared this in another setting this week. I saw this video on TikTok. This woman was playing one of her singing bowls. She recorded herself playing the singing bowl. And then she set the singing bowl down, and it was dormant. And she played back the recording, and the singing bowl started humming along with the recording because it was resonant with it. And so that's sort of that's kind of a way that I can describe how I know something to be true. It doesn't feel discordant. Some of the shit that I was taught to believe and to take on faith alone when I grew up in the church felt very discordant to me. It didn't feel right. And I couldn't describe how or why, but it just didn't feel right. And then I land on the truth, and there is a resonance, and it feels like peace. It feels like clarity. It feels like knowing. And I know that's not, people just want really tangible, scientific, something they can take a bite out of. And that's just not how these spiritual truths work sometimes. Like, you can't give it to you in a formula, but I can just, that's one way that I can think of to describe it, is just a resonance within your soul. It chimes something that says that is true.
I love that, Morgan. Thank you so much. That really helps me.
I love that. Yeah. And I've heard about stuff like that happening before, like in a music shop and things like that. So like when everything is tuned and someone plays a certain note, the other instruments resonate with that note, and it's just, to me, that is like visible proof of the attractor factor, right? Like, yeah. So, going back to my first example of we're all separate, but, when we start vibrating, with clarity, then that reverberates out into the world, and those things are attracted to you.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not explaining it well, but to
No,
me,
you are.
yeah, thoughts are things, right? Thoughts are things, thoughts manifest. And that's why it's through that vibration.
Yes.
Yeah. So then there is some, I don't know what if you're saying that there is some blind faith in faith, that's not proof. Like, because you said you felt it, you knew it was.
No, I'm not saying that it's not proof. I'm just saying it's not formulaic. It's not something that I could tell you, I could lay it out in a presentation like, this is how I arrived at this knowing. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it is something that could be replicated verbatim in the same exact way that I experienced it, because we all have unique individual experiences, and God reveals itself, truth reveals itself differently to every individual in a way that meets them where they are, and what they can accept, what they can take in. You know what I'm saying? So I just can't present it in a way that the people who need like evidence to look a certain way might like to see it. Does that make sense?
Well, it's like that peace beyond understanding, I guess. It's like faith beyond understanding. It's like you can't quite articulate it, but it's there, is what I'm hearing you say, Morgan.
Yeah. And I think it's something that you don't like. I know it to be true. And because the truth is true, I don't need to convince anybody to see it my way. Like, I trust that they'll learn it, know it, experience it for themselves if and when it's right for them to. And like with belief, I feel like there's so much trying to convince others, like to see it my way. You have to believe the same way I do. I have to convince people that this is the way. There's ego in it. There's attachment to it. But when we're identified with the truth, there's no need to defend against the truth. The truth is true. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you if you try to tell me that my name is Bob when my name is Morgan. Like, okay, you can go ahead and believe that. It's fine, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so
I'm glad that you said that, Morgan, because that really is true for me. The more that I rest in love, the more that I tap into that vibration, tune into that vibration, the less that I need to change anybody else, right? Everybody is, I think that's why I don't get mad in traffic anymore, right? Because I don't need anybody to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to convince anybody. Like I think part of the reason that we convince and we argue is there has to be a little doubt that we need other people to believe what we believe to make it true for us. And I think that would be, you asked for like evidence earlier. I think that is an evidence of a belief, is when you have to try to convince other people to believe what you do.
Yeah.
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 Yes, I think
wow,
so.
that sums it up, doesn't it?
That's evidence of belief, right?
Yeah.
That is evidence of belief.
Yeah. Which makes me think of the word gnosis, Gnosticism, which is knowledge. Like faith and knowledge sort of go hand in hand. And so, like, faith is knowing. Pistis is gnosis.
I have never heard of those words, Mark.
I know. Well, pistis, she said earlier, is faith.
Yeah.
Proof.
Yeah. What is that, Latin, or what is that?
That is a good question. I think it has roots in Greek So it was like in the Greek interpretation of the New Testament,
Mm-hmm.
pistis. I'm not sure about gnosis, but it's where the word Gnosticism comes from. And like many people believe that Jesus was a Gnostic, was teaching mystical Gnosticism, actually, not like Orthodox Christianity or whatever, it has morphed into. So knowing.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Fun. I love nerding out on this stuff.
I know you do. You always amaze me. Like, you know so much. What is that? Gnosticism?
Yeah.
You know
Morgan
so
the
much.
Gnostic.
That is funny. Well, thanks for exploring this topic with me. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I got a few Post-its from it too. Unless there's some final thoughts that anybody wants to share or anything.
Well, I'm just looking forward to moving through my day now and like seeing what I know and seeing what I believe, like taking this opportunity just to reevaluate my day through the lens of, is this
a belief
or is it a knowing?
I just thought of a perfect example.
Oh, tell.
Like, I believe this person is a jerk, but I know that they are actually holy, divine, and perfectly innocent, a child of God.
And which one do I want to fully embrace right now?
Yeah. Right. Do I want to be in heaven or hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's a good one, Morgan. Mm-hmm. You got them, man. I love it. Yeah. So I think I wrote a few Post-its. I'm not sure I'm going to share them all because I think the last few minutes here is what's really summed everything up. I mean, faith will resonate in our body. You'll know it's true when you feel it in your body, is what you were saying, Morgan. And then also belief, you must convince others, and the truth or faith is, need to defend anything. You just know the truth. The truth is true. And so, and the truth is that God is love. Mm-hmm. That's really the truth. Yeah. So, I mean, really to sum this episode up, Amanda, you did it for me. Mm-hmm. You said, let's just go through the day and stay awake and be conscious of what's going on around us. Are we operating from beliefs, or are we operating from faith and love and peace and clarity and knowing? And are we going to stay in heaven, or are we going to go to hell? I mean, that's really the bottom line. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thank you so much for being with us this morning or today. It might not be morning when you're listening to this, but it's morning when we're recording. But thank you so much for joining us at Five Lemons Laughing. We really are exploring some interesting topics to open us up, take a look at things a little differently than what maybe we were raised to look at them. And so keep coming back. We love you. And remember, your transformation is our greatest joy. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.